All right.
Are you live?
Yeah, we should be live right now.
Live.
No?
Give me the link.
It might take a second for it to catch up.
I got it up on my end.
Oh, you see it?
Yeah,
Okay,
I think I see it on your channel.
Everyone sees us?
All right.
Yeah, we got 200 watching. Chat's starting up. Looking good.
Okay. Okay, that's strange. When I look at my channel, I don't. Okay. Okay, now we see it. I see it. Okay, I'm gonna turn my webcam on since I have a webcam. There we go.
Great.
All right. So welcome everyone. I've got No Bullshit here with me, and for those of you who don't know, he's a YouTuber and everything. I'll link his channel down in the description later. I guess the topic of debate is whether or not it is morally justified to kill and eat animals. I think you've made several videos, or at least one, trying to refute the ideological principles of veganism. So do you want to begin with your premise?
Sure. Just a quick point of order before we start. We're doing a one-on-one debate of the morality of eating meat. That's correct, like you just said. Or do we have any way of deciding the winner on this?
We'll just decide based on likes, dislikes, comments.
Okay. Yeah, let's do likes to dislikes. I just want to set that up. So likes for veganism, dislikes for meat eaters.
Sure.
Okay, cool. So I think my argument is pretty simple. I mean, essentially, eating meat is already moral. It's already accepted part of society. People use it as a nutrient to eat. They cook it. It's already moral. It's already accepted. You wouldn't say someone that's eating a cheeseburger is a murderer, or a child who eats beef at school lunch is immoral. So I think what I would like to ask is for you to prove that it's immoral. I mean, I'm going to stand with the meat eaters. They nominated me, so I'm going to represent meat eaters today. Just kidding. But yes, you need to prove why meat is immoral.
Well, your premise is interesting because basically you're making an appeal to social contract. We already do it, and we, like, generally in society, we wouldn't consider somebody immoral if they're eating meat. This is just an appeal to social contract. You're not breaking any social contracts with anyone by eating meat, so therefore it's ethical. Well, if you're going to appeal to social contract, then you could use that same thing to justify slavery. If we lived in a society...
Wow, you brought up slavery quick, man. Are we like 2 minutes in?
Well, it's a completely valid argument. Like, if you're going to appeal to social contract...
No, it's not. Slavery is not equal to eating meat.
That's besides the point. It's not...
You compared it to eating meat, then it's...
No, I didn't... No, I didn't compare it to eating meat. I'm just using it to demonstrate how you're being logically inconsistent. So
no, it's not. Just because slavery was a thing doesn't mean that, you know, you're suggesting that eating meat is eventually going to become immoral.
No, you're appealing to social. You're not understanding the argument. No, you're not. You're not understanding You're not understanding the argument. I'm not saying slavery is comparable to eating meat. Let's say it's not, just for the sake of argument.
Well, I just want to hear your argument. You're just talking about slavery. What's your argument for immorality of eating meat?
The immorality of eating meat. Okay, well, basically, it's not something we need to do. It's completely unnecessary, at least in modern Western civilization.
It is necessary.
No, it's not. Well, explain why.
We need to eat food.
Well, yeah, and we can choose to eat plant foods that don't require the suffering and death of sentient beings.
Well, you don't need to eat plants either. I mean, you don't need to eat wheat. Why aren't we attacking wheat? You're attacking meat.
Because it's not an ethical issue.
Well, animals die from wheat production.
Yeah, but there's a difference between intentionally killing animals in agriculture and unintentionally killing a few.
They're intentionally killed as well. Pest animals are hunted and poisoned.
Well, no, you're talking about moral gray areas. And
it's not a moral gray area. You're saying that
no.
You're to kill animals for wheat, but it's not justified to kill animals for meat.
No, look, you're comparing. You're trying to compare the smaller amount of animals killed in large industrial agriculture to intentionally killing billions of animals in the.
Okay, so we're not talking about animal rights. We're not talking about animal rights.
No, we
you're
are.
talking about that's reduced suffering.
This isn't a zero-sum game. Ethics aren't a zero-sum game. You can't just say, okay, because we can't eliminate all suffering, that means all suffering is justified.
So do you concede that this is not an animal rights argument?
Well, it is, really.
Well, then why are you talking about reducing suffering? Because there's still animals being killed by eating plants.
Well, okay, so that's essentially like saying, okay, if you have to kill somebody for self-defense, therefore it's totally justified to kill anyone you want for any reason. Like that's
No.
basically what you're saying.
No, I'm not saying that. I'm saying you say we can't kill animals for meat, but we can kill them for wheat, or just replace wheat with corn, or replace wheat with another crop. Animals die from crops.
Well, yeah, but that's different to killing billions of them in the animal agriculture industry.
Well, now you're shifting again. You're not talking about animal rights. You're talking about reducing.
Okay, we're playing
suffering.
word games. Well, yeah, that's the whole point, to reduce the amount of suffering we're causing.
From animal rights to reduce suffering.
Okay, sure, whatever.
So you're conceding
why do you think it's justified to needlessly murder billions of animals?
Okay, hold on a second.
Agriculture?
You're conceding that animal rights isn't the issue, that no matter what we eat, animals are going to die.
Well, at some level, but it is an animal rights issue.
You concede that animals are going to die no matter what we eat. So let's move on to reduce suffering. That's what you're talking about next, is we have to kill the least amount possible.
Yeah, essentially, as little as reasonably possible.
Okay, so then we're talking about reduced suffering. So what makes you think that veganism is the least reduced suffering?
Because we're not supporting the animal agriculture industry, where, if you include sea life, it's trillions of animals each year that are killed.
Okay, well, you know, animals do die from plant agriculture, so we're talking about a spectrum, right?
You're talking about billions and billions compared to like thousands.
Okay, I'm not sure about those, if those numbers are correct, but regardless,
well, if we're talking about like mammals and birds, then it's really thousands. If you actually look at the data, the amount of animals that are actually directly killed as a result of industrial agriculture,
I get it. Yeah, no, I already get it.
It's very, very suffering.
Low. It's you kill less animals than us, is what you're saying.
Yeah, basically, like far less. You're talking about billions.
So what makes you think? Why did you stop at veganism? Why don't you go past veganism? You can reduce,
like in what way?
You can reduce more. You can reduce suffering more than veganism.
Yeah, like how?
I mean, you can hunt invasive species that are killing other animals. You can hunt, say,
well, people already do that,
right? But in this argument, I'm saying, if you wanted to reduce suffering the most, veganism isn't even the way to do it.
Not necessarily. Like, I think
it's just the easiest way.
No. Like, we should frame this in the context of agriculture and our diets. Like, that's really the main issue of concern.
Okay, but we already agreed that there's no diet where we don't harm animals.
Well, to some extent.
Yeah, and I understand what you're saying. Like, yes, 1 billion is way worse than 1,000, but you're inconsistent.
Okay, so you agree?
You're not being consistent.
No, I am. So you agree that it is morally superior to follow a vegan diet?
No, I didn't say that. I said
you just did.
No, I said that numbers. I understand numbers. When you say 1 billion is more than 1,000, that's all I was understanding.
I caused the suffering and death of fewer animals than you, so I'm living a more ethical lifestyle.
Are you though?
So
really?
You agree?
No, I'm not. I'm not agreeing to that. That's not what we're talking about.
You literally just agreed.
We're not debating person versus person. We're debating the morality of eating meat, and I already proved that animals. No, the rights argument is done, and now we're just talking about reduced suffering. But you choose veganism. There's ways to reduce suffering more than veganism. You've just arbitrarily chosen
not
a point.
really.
Yeah, there is freegan. Why aren't you a freegan?
Freegan?
You eat off the land. You eat people's waste. You eat things that have already died naturally.
Well, that's really still veganism.
No, I mean, technically it is, but it's actually less suffering than veganism. And then if you want to take this to the logical conclusion, I mean, you could just kill yourself. I'm not saying you should kill yourself.
Well, no,
the zero amount of suffering.
This is ridiculous. No, this is ridiculous. This whole argument you're making is an appeal to futility. Like, if you're going to say, well, why don't you just kill yourself? You're just saying, no, you're trying to say that all suffering, every wrongdoing you do is justified because you can't stop all suffering. It's an appeal to futility.
Well, if you say a word from your debate class, then yeah, that's a word from your debate class, but that doesn't mean I'm wrong. You just like to
Yeah, it does. You're making
like
an
to
appeal
say-
to futility.
just like to say a word that ask yourself, text you in the messages. He says appeal to futility or logical fallacy, and then you think that means you won. It doesn't mean you won.
No, it does. You're being logically inconsistent. If you think all wrongdoing is justified because you can't stop all wrongdoing in the world, then we can just apply this to humans as well. Like if you're going to say, if we can kill and eat animals because you can't stop all suffering, then okay, I can just kill you because I can't stop all murder in the world. Like your arguments are logically inconsistent, and then you're trying to no, I'm not. You're trying to find a way to like socially pressure people into not recognizing logical fallacies. Like only dumb nerds who go to debate classes would think logical fallacies
are. I'm just saying that's the way you talk. You talk like you just got out of a college debate class or something.
And that's a bad thing.
I mean, did you go to college?
No.
Okay, interesting.
Like, what does this have to do with?
Can we get back to reduce suffering, for instance? I mean, that's your whole argument is you want to kill the least amount of animals possible.
Right, at least as reasonably possible. Like we still need to look out for our own well-being. So I think it is morally justified to. Well, no, it is morally justified to use industrialized agriculture to feed humanity, even though it does result in some animals being killed as a direct result of those industries. Like we drive cars with the understanding that a certain amount of people are going to die because we drive cars. Does that mean driving cars is unethical?
I like you bringing up those buzzwords, but here's what we're talking about.
Answer me. Like if you're going to say that all suffering is justified because we can't eliminate all suffering, do you think that it is immoral to drive cars because some people are going to end up getting killed by cars?
So you're saying that driving cars is the same as eating food?
No, I'm not. Like, do you not understand
it?
how I'm not comparing that? Do you not understand how I'm trying to point out
the debate is the morality of eating meat?
Yeah, it is.
So what does that have to do with driving cars?
I'm not comparing it to driving cars. I'm pointing out the logical inconsistencies in your argument.
Well, I'm pointing out the ones in your argument. You don't even see it. You can't
like
even
what?
tell.
Okay, name it.
Well, like, okay, for example, killing less animals. You're about not killing animals, but what if you killed an invasive species and hunt and ate that? That's actually less suffering than veganism.
I'm not necessarily against killing invasive species.
So there's invasive species like deer, snake in Florida. There's certain fish in the Gulf of Mexico. Hunting those will actually reduce suffering more than veganism.
No. That's not about reducing suffering. That's about maintaining an ecosystem, which I guess technically you could say it's about ensuring that the native animals.
Well, these invasive animals might kill other animals. They're hunting and taking out, say, rabbits or something.
Well,
so
the point of killing
the population, you're reducing suffering more.
The point of killing invasive species is to maintain the health of an ecosystem, and I'm not necessarily against that because I don't see any better alternative, but this doesn't really relate to eating meat in animal agriculture.
Well, in that situation, yes, you would eat the meat because otherwise you're just killing them and not eating them.
You could just feed it to a dog.
So dogs are allowed to eat meat, but not
really. Well, yeah, they don't have moral agency, and at least some dogs, like they need meat. They can't follow a vegan diet.
Okay, I understand that, but what
no. Like you're trying to throw this off the rails. The issue is, whoops, turned off my webcam. The main issue we should be focusing on is animal agriculture, not these weird moral gray areas where it's okay to kill invasive species and then eat the meat.
Well, the reason these areas are morally gray is because they're inconsistent for you. That's what it is.
They're not. No, they're not. It's because not.
You're saying veganism is reducing suffering the most, but I just put you a solution that reduces more.
I agreed with you that I think it's okay to kill off invasive species because I don't see any better alternative. Like,
and we can eat those things we killed.
Right. So, like, do you think the majority of the U.S. population, like what, 240, 250 million people, they're out hunting boars and like this? You're taking things out of context and finding like weird scenarios where you can try to find a morally gray argument.
Finding inconsistencies is. It's like when you bring up
no, it's not.
Or you bring up car
crashes. Inconsistency. I agreed with you. Like I'm agreeing with you that in certain situations it's okay to kill animals. Like For instance, to maintain the health of an ecosystem, kill off.
So would you say? So you're saying that it is moral to eat animals sometimes?
Well, yes, sometimes in certain contexts, like if it's for survival, if
So
it's
do we need to keep
for
going
killing off.
on? Because I kind of proved that eating meat is moral.
No, you didn't. You only found one single context where it can be morally justified. But we're framing this in the animal agriculture
What about
industry.
bivalves?
Bivalves?
Have you ever eaten them or heard of them?
You mean like jellyfish?
No, not jellyfish. It's like more like a clam. It's in a shell. It has no nervous system, no suffering.
Well, it does
be
have nerve clusters. So it can be argued that they might be able to experience pain.
I mean, it would be comparable to
level.
plants. It'd be the same kind
No,
of nerves that
plants don't have nerve. No, plants don't have nerves.
Okay, well, either regardless, beating bivalves is another solution.
No bullshit. No bullshit. The problem is what you're doing is, again, you're trying to make an appeal to futility, and you're trying to say, okay, in some contexts, it's okay to kill an animal. That means in every context, it's perfectly acceptable.
I
to
never
kill an
said
animal.
that. I never said
yes,
that.
Yes, you did. That's exactly what you were saying.
I never
you
said
found a context. You
said
found
in
a
every
context.
No. All suffering.
You found a context, killing off invading species like wild boar in Texas, where it's okay, it can be considered morally acceptable to kill those animals because they're invading species.
So would you admit that that's more moral?
No. Listen, you're interrupting me. Then you said, I just proved that eating meat is moral. So then you're suggesting that in every single context, eating meat is moral. You can't play these like mental gymnastic games.
Well, you're doing the same thing with your diet.
No, I'm not.
You're saying veganism is moral in certain situations that are hypothetical. Why can't the meat eater do the same thing?
No, that's not what I'm doing. I'm saying for somebody who's like in a wealthy westernized country who has access to all the foods they need on a plant-based diet, it's basically a moral imperative for you to choose plant-based options.
But we just agreed that there's more options that are not plant-based. You can eat meat and be more moral.
No.
You can't?
What are you talking about? Be more moral?
If you're right now, you're a vegan, and you're indirectly killing animals by eating your plants, right?
Right, but the issue is, again, this is an appeal to futility. You're trying to suggest that because
it's not an appeal to futility. That's
okay, just no. Like, look, I'll use the car analogy again.
I'm saying you could be more moral eating meat.
No. How? No, explain this.
I'm telling you. You just
no. You're just no. Okay, fine. Explain.
Okay, so you're currently eating crops, and they indirectly kill animals. But if you stopped eating those and went out and killed an invasive species that was killing other animals as well and helped the environment, that's actually more moral than what you're doing.
Okay, well, there aren't really any invasive species that I know of in Canada that I can subsist off of.
So you're just saying because you don't know right now, you just won't do it. You won't.
What do you mean? Like there aren't any wild boar in Toronto.
So isn't this an appeal to futility or like an appeal to it's just too hard to do? I mean,
well, no, it's not. And there's other reasons. No, and there's other reasons for why somebody wouldn't want to go out and kill and eat wild boar, like for health reasons, for instance.
You don't even have to hunt it. I mean, you could just eat deer when it's in season. Deer is overpopulated in a lot of areas.
And the reason for that is human beings. No, like again,
this doesn't matter what the reason is. I'm saying
no.
Deer that's overpopulated. You can just get it in the supermarket.
The problem with
more moral than your vegan diet.
No, listen, that's not more moral than a vegan diet. Like again,
how you're not killing any animals.
No, you're trying to find weird little contexts where it's maybe morally justified to kill animals because they're an invading species and perhaps their numbers are too high. This isn't representative of a normal population in westernized society.
Richard, when you say this stuff, this is just you losing.
No, it's not. This is just you trying to find weird moral gray area.
What it feels like to lose. You're just like, ask yourself. You don't even know when you're losing.
No, no, you're just trying to find weird morally gray areas. And then you think this kind of defeats.
So morally gray, would you say that's inconsistent?
Okay, no bullshit. Do you get all of your meat from wild boar?
No.
Okay, so why is that?
because I'm not on the internet trying to be a moral grandstander. I'm not trying to say I'm better than people.
Right, okay, no. Okay, so when you make videos about feminism and social justice warriors, and you talk about how feminists are
I just want to see how this is going. We got 100
No. Are you white knighting when you
likes.
make your videos? No, these are you make videos about moral issues like racism against white people. Are you white knighting by doing that?
So are you conceding on the reduced suffering argument?
Yeah, of course. Like reducing suffering is
there's ways to reduce suffering more than veganism. Veganism isn't the ultimate goal, and eating meat isn't necessarily immoral.
Well, no, again, you're trying to play word games.
Dude, that's what you call it when you just are wrong.
No, that's what I call it when you're playing word games. Like you're taking a certain specific context that isn't representative of the population as the whole, and then you try to say, okay, well, because in this one particular context, which might affect a certain amount of people, therefore eating meat in every single context is moral. So when you go to the grocery store, do you think that's perfectly morally justified?
If you buy deer when it's in season.
No. Do you think it is perfectly morally justified to eat chicken, eat beef, eat pork, from a grocery store?
It's just as justified as you eating your plants.
No, it's not. Explain why.
Well, are we going back to animal rights? You want to go? I thought you already said that it wasn't about animal rights. About
animal rights. Explain why the animal agriculture industry is perfectly morally justified. Why is it okay for you to buy chicken, cow, and pig from a grocery store that came from a farm?
Well, I think now you're getting into just whether or not you're culpable for the purchases you make at a store. I mean, that's a whole other argument.
Okay, so
are you saying that I'm the one killing the animal?
Yeah, essentially you are. You're the one paying.
So you're the one killing animals too when you buy plants.
No, again, you're trying to compare the unintentional killing of a small amount of animals in industrialized agriculture to actually killing animals in animal agriculture.
Now you're pivoting back to reduced harm, which you already lost.
No, how is reducing harm a bad thing?
Well, reduce harm isn't an argument to not eat meat because you can eat meat and reduce more harm.
No, only in very, very specific contexts.
Here's what's going on, Richard. Basically, you think your veganism diet is objectively right, but it's really subjective. It's subjective to you.
So you think it's subjective how? Sorry. Subjective how? You make assertions, but you don't explain.
I'm telling you, because you're not the most morally grandstanding. I mean, people could be more moral than you by eating meat.
No, I don't have the option to go out and hunt boar.
That doesn't have to do with it. I'm saying
still, I don't have to eat these. Look, I don't even have to eat these animals myself. If I really did believe that these animals are an invading species, and it would do more to the overall good to kill these invading species, I don't have to eat that meat.
So it's not you would just kill it and not eat it. I mean, that's less moral because you're wasting meat.
To somebody else, I could give it to poor people. I could turn it into dog food.
Well, I think when you delve into this, you're just kind of admitting that, veganism and not eating meat isn't the most moral option.
Well, yeah, it is for the vast, vast majority of people. How many people have the option to go out and hunt?
What you're saying is
how many people have the option to go out and hunt?
You're saying it's the easiest option. You're saying it's the easiest option. That's what you're saying right now.
No, how many places in America and Canada have invading species and have such a large population of invading species that almost everyone can subsist, get enough adequate nutrition from this?
Plenty. If you want to talk about hypothetical setups for society, what's your hypothetical setup for a vegetarian society?
60% of India is vegetarian?
I know, but what
do you mean?
Are we pitching how we're going to set up the world with our societies versus evasive animals versus veganism? It's all hypothetical. You can't.
No bullshit. No bullshit. The animal agriculture industry actually reduces our overall food supply because we give these animals grains that we could otherwise be consuming ourselves. And this is another point. If you think industrialized agriculture, corn and wheat production is so bad, well, most of those crops are going to feed livestock animals.
Well, what you're saying is
make such a big stink about grains causing the death of animals just indirectly, then okay, well, why don't you stop eating meat from the grocery store if you think that's such a huge problem?
You're just basically you're reducing harm to an arbitrary level that you decided is necessary.
No, I'm not. You're just finding weird context and then taking those contexts out of context and saying, okay, well, if this moral value applies in this context, then it applies in every context.
So unless you go all the way down to zero harm, and I'm not saying
that's not what I'm saying.
To kill yourself or anything.
That's not what I'm saying.
Maybe a freegan or something that doesn't kill any animals.
I don't care about freeganism. If you're gonna eat an animal that was dead on the side of the road, I don't really give a shit. That's not a moral issue. It doesn't have to be animals. It could be other dead things. It's just causing zero harm. What do you mean other dead things?
Well, I mean, we can get into freeganism, living off the land and eating plants and stuff that they find on the road or in the trash even. That's a whole other thing.
Fine. That's not a moral issue. The moral issue is that you're supporting the suffering and death of animals with the agriculture industry.
So are you.
No, again, you're trying to compare the indirect suffering caused by grain production to direct suffering caused by the meat and animal agriculture industry.
Well, pesticides are direct.
Let me explain why your argument makes no sense. No, let me explain why your argument makes no sense. You're trying to compare the indirect suffering with indirect murder suffering with causing direct suffering. So if I were to go outside, shoot somebody, that's the exact same thing as me driving a car and accidentally running somebody over, which caused their death.
Okay, I got you. No, I see what you're saying. We're talking about intent.
Yeah,
right?
Basically. Okay. And your intent is to cause harm.
No, it's not. But let me respond to
when you go to the grocery store, your intent is to cause harm because you do not need to buy meat or any animal products.
That's not true, but let's talk about what
you just said. No, prove to me that you have to buy meat to live.
You don't have to buy plants to live.
Yeah, but you'd have to eat something, and if you're not eating plants, you have to eat meat.
No, you arbitrarily pick out meat and say we don't have to eat meat.
No, it's not an arbitrary. I'm not arbitrarily picking it out. I'm picking it out because it is immoral. You're causing the unnecessary suffering and death of animals because you have.
We already proved that it's necessary. You can't just change things.
How did you prove that eating meat was necessary? When did this happen?
No, I proved that you have to kill animals for us to survive.
On some level in industrialized agriculture.
Any level matters. That's an inconsistency in what you're saying.
No. You're trying to say that killing animals indirectly in industrialized agriculture is the exact same thing as having animal agriculture where you're
I can respond to intent if you give me a moment. I have a response to intent because, first of all, not all agriculture deaths are unintentional. They hunt pests, they shoot them, they poison them on purpose. Would you say that's okay?
What kind of pests are you talking about?
I mean, crops are protected. You know, if a rabbit comes in, a gopher, a rat, something, farmers have to kill them. Do you think?
No, not. I don't think that actually happens. They don't go out with shotguns. It's you're talking about very small farms.
No, it certainly happens. And then the next thing is pesticides. I mean, pesticides are sprayed and they kill everything
and most of the pesticides used are used to feed livestock animals. Again, this is just a nonsense argument.
No, it's not because you said intent, right? And the intent.
You're talking about 60% of the grains that we produce are going to livestock animals. So if you have a problem with pesticides,
so you want to pivot. You're pivoting.
Then stop.
You don't want to talk about intent anymore. You don't want to talk about intent anymore.
Well, no, intent's fine, but again, you're trying to muddy the waters and claim that any wrongdoing is the same exact thing as something else. And
no, what I'm proving is there's inconsistencies in your argument.
No, there aren't any.
When you say there's more gray areas, that's inconsistency.
No. We need to use pesticides to make sure we have enough grain production, and if that results in killing insects.
And some animals die from pesticide. Runoff in the water, poison. I'm not
really sure. Well, yeah, I'm not really sure.
Because you don't know about it, Richard, doesn't mean it doesn't happen. I'm telling you, just like they hunt animals and you didn't know about it. I'm trying to learn you that your diet kills animals.
I know we hunt animals. I know my diet results in indirect death of some animals, but you're
So you
trying
don't
to
think
say,
there's
no. Look, the fundamental problem you have is that you can't understand that indirectly causing some sort of suffering and death, like, and a small amount of it.
But I just said it was direct.
Causing a massive.
It's
so
direct.
That doesn't matter. It's still.
You said your argument was about intent, and you're saying that direct doesn't matter.
It's not just about intent. Like you're trying.
So you're
to,
not talking about intent
argue.
anymore.
No. You're trying to argue that a small amount of suffering justifies a large amount of suffering.
So we're going back to reduce suffering, not intent.
You're playing you're playing mental gymnastics and word games.
No, it's the same. Words and then
No bullshit. Listen.
I think you're losing, bro.
No. We know that a certain amount of people are killed by driving cars every year. Correct? A certain amount of people are going to be killed by driving cars. So does that justify shooting everyone? Does that justify going out and shooting everyone?
Why does it have to do with anything?
No, that's the argument you're making.
No, it's not. That's what you're saying.
That's exactly the argument you're making. You're saying because we indirectly cause a certain amount of death, that justifies any death for any reason.
No, I'm not saying that. I'm just saying that it's on a spectrum, and you're not even reducing it to the most that you can. You're just picking an arbitrary point.
I am.
No, we already talked about it. If you ate invasive species, that's less harm than what you died.
We don't have
Go
any.
Go to the grocery store and buy deer meat. It's not that hard.
We don't have deer meat in the grocery store.
So and you're saying since it's too hard for you, you won't reduce.
You haven't proved. You haven't proved that hunting deer is absolutely necessary, and that's the best way to control the deer population. Because actually hunting white-tailed deer increases the deer population because hunters only go after the males.
So you want to attack that specific example, but you do admit that there are.
So why should I buy deer when hunting deer does absolutely nothing to control the deer population?
Hunting deer doesn't control the deer population.
Yeah, because hunters only go after males. They go after the big bucks with the horns.
Well, they avoid the females. Killing it is reducing a population.
No, it's not. No, it's not, because you're only going after males, and then males can just have no mating pressure, so they can just fuck as many females as they want, and then it does nothing.
Say that because you're just going after meat. You just pick meat to not eat, but like I said before, I could pick wheat. I could say let's not eat corn. You're arbitrary. You're arbitrary picking a spectrum.
The vast majority of our corn goes to feeding livestock animals. So again, if you have a problem with that industry, then why aren't you against animal agriculture?
What against what? Sorry, say that again?
No, the vast majority of our corn, I think in the United States, it's somewhere as high as 80%. The vast majority of our corn goes to feeding livestock animals and the animal agriculture industry. So if you're against corn production, why aren't you against the animal agriculture industry?
I never said I was against corn production.
So then why are you using that as an example as indirect harm and use that to justify killing animals?
Because it's an example because you say we don't need meat. I say we don't need corn. Someone else might say we don't need fruit.
I don't eat corn.
Okay, it's okay. Any vegetable, wheat, lentils. I know you like lentils.
I don't really eat wheat. Yeah, okay. Well, I could just switch to beans. What does this have to do with anything?
Well, that's what I'm saying. It's like you try to rule out meat because you say you don't have to eat it, and I can say I could rule out any part of someone's diet. Basically,
I think I understand what you're trying to get at, and the fundamental problem is that you don't understand that a small amount of harm that you're causing, indirectly in some sort of industry, doesn't justify directly causing harm in another industry.
But dude, we already said it was direct.
I go back to the car.
We already said it was direct. You can't just change things.
So let's agree. Okay, no. Let's agree for the sake of argument. Using pesticides in grain production is direct. We intend to kill pest animals to prevent animals from consuming grains. Can you prove to me that the amount of suffering caused by using pesticides is equal to the animal agriculture industry?
No, I don't have to prove that because the argument is about the morality of eating meat.
The argument, you do. The argument is about reducing suffering as much as you reasonably can.
No, that's your argument.
Demonstrate.
That's your argument.
If you can't this is basically the whole point of having this debate in the first place.
So
That
it's
eating
reduced
plants,
suffering.
yeah, that eating plants causes
This is
less
the
suffering
reduced
than
suffering
meat.
debate. But so I ask you, why do you not reduce suffering to the maximum? You just have an arbitrary line that you pick.
What do you mean reduce suffering to the maximum?
Well, I mean, you could reduce more by, like I said, eating deer sometimes when it's in season.
There's no deer around here that you can hunt.
So you're just saying it's too hard.
It's not about it being too hard. There's just no deer in Toronto that you can hunt. And I'm not even convinced that hunting deer has any fucking benefit because hunters only go after the males.
But I thought you already conceded that hunting an invasive species can be morally better.
No, hunting invasive species can be morally justified.
Okay, and it can be more moral to do that than to eat plants, which are killing animals on purpose, and they're like no reason. I mean, these animals come in and they're just living on the land, and then all of a sudden someone puts up a farm and tears down their whole field because you want plants.
You realize that the main cause of deforestation is animal agriculture.
I mean, that's kind of pivoting. You don't want to address.
That's not pivoting. The main cause of deforestation is animal agriculture.
Well, we're not talking about deforestation.
If you have a problem with deforestation, then maybe you should be against animal agriculture.
I never said I had a problem with deforestation.
Okay, so you think deforestation for animal agriculture is perfectly fine?
No, you're bringing up another topic because you don't want to address what I said.
No, I'm answering your position.
No, you're talking about something else. I said that for you to have your plants, they have to plant a field over someone else's place. Like, okay, let's say we're in Brazil. They have to remove a tribe of people to start a farm.
That happens for cattle ranching. You realize in Brazil, they've actually massacred indigenous people to make room for cattle ranching?
So do you think that's moral?
No. Killing indigenous people for cattle ranching isn't moral, obviously.
So how
what
is
are you
it
talking about?
So how is it moral for you to kill a field of, say, rabbits for your plants that you eat?
Because that's the most ethical option available to me.
So that's not consistent. You don't see
that?
Yeah,
it is. That's the most ethical option available to me.
So you're saying that
this isn't a zero-sum game.
You're saying humans are more valuable than animals then because you were more worried about the tribe going down than
yeah, humans are essentially more valuable than animals, but I can also respect animals and say, like, they're sentient beings. They have a right to life, and I have to live too, so I'll try to live in a way that reduces as much animal suffering and death as possible.
Okay, but you're still fine with
removing
like a tribe of, say, deer that they're flocking on a field, and you're going to cover that with
deer,
whatever you want to call it, dude. So you get a group of animals, and you're going to wipe out their whole city or area because you want to grow plants. Yeah, animal city.
Again, like we can the agriculture. No. Like you're taking things. You're not like when you make these arguments, you're completely unaware of the reality of the situation. The reason why? No, you're not. The reason why we're growing so much corn and wheat and oats in the first place is to go to the animal agriculture industry. So yeah, that means we can use a lot less farmland if we all were to go on a plant-based diet.
So you're saying that because some of the crops are going to animals.
No, the majority, not some, the majority.
Okay, but do you eat plants?
Yeah.
And you're suggesting people to eat plants, right?
Yes.
So how do you morally justify a farm of your plants taking an animal's
Because that's more ethical. That's a more ethical choice than buying meat from the animal agriculture industry, which causes more deforestation and requires more land than just buying plants directly.
Why don't you eat a plant-based diet with incorporating invasive species like deer?
Well, first of all, deer aren't an invasive species.
Yeah, they're overpopulated. They're everywhere. They're in Canada.
That's not
they're
the
in
definition
America.
of an invasive species. That's just overpopulation. That's not the definition of an invasive species. And
so whichever one you want to land on.
No, shut up. You're not letting me answer. No, I'm not even convinced that hunting white-tailed deer even reduces the deer population, because hunters only go after male deer, which does nothing to control their population, and it's fucking terrible for your health.
What about green crab? Green crab in Canada.
Green crab.
Yeah, green crab. It's overpopulated, it's invasive, and you could eat it and be less harmful than you are currently.
How?
Because your plants that you're eating are harming.
You understand that with crab fishing, they scoop up other species of animals and they have to sift through it. You understand that?
Yeah.
Like, do you have any idea how horrible the fishing industry is? Like, you're just taking things out of context, and
so you want to say
any understanding.
So you're going back to those fish have rights.
I'm not saying fish have rights. I'm saying it's completely it's not morally justified to eat green crab because
I think you're just getting hung up on the specific animal, and that's how you're picking it apart.
No, I'm not. Look, you're throwing this. You're just throwing out fucking red herrings constantly.
You're just throwing out high school debate words.
We should frame this in the context of animal agriculture. So cows, chickens, pigs. We can, let's just make the agreement here. In some contexts, hunting can be considered morally acceptable, like killing off an invading species, like say wild boar in Texas that are destroying native ecosystems. I think that's fine. Let's talk about animal agriculture, which is where the vast majority of people get their meat. Why do you think it's okay to raise cows, chickens, and pigs and kill them?
Okay, that's a good question, but I think at first you have to concede.
No. We've already gotten past that. We can agree that in certain contexts it's fine to hunt certain species of animals.
Okay. Yeah, so it is moral to eat animals.
No, you're just making a blanket statement and taking it out of context. In some contexts, we can say that it is morally justified to eat animals. So
you basically
if you're
just
killing
said
off
that
meat
diet.
No,
meat diets are more ethical.
Your wording around. You keep changing your wording around. First you say in certain contexts it's morally justified to kill and eat animals. Then you say therefore it's morally acceptable to kill animals. You're changing contexts.
No, I didn't say therefore. You said therefore. You said
no. You are
more ethical eating meat.
You're playing word games. Look, I can agree that in certain contexts, like killing off invading species, or if you absolutely need to for survival, it's justified to killing animals.
Yeah, we can move on past that.
Let's frame this in the context of the animal agriculture industry. Why do you think it's okay to raise cows, chickens, and pigs, and even fish to some extent, because we do farm fish? Why do you think it's okay to kill those animals in agriculture when you don't need to?
I never said that I think that's cool, and then we do need to. We already established.
So then you do agree that the animal agriculture industry is immoral?
I would say animal cruelty is wrong. I can agree with you on that. I'm not for animal cruelty.
We're not even talking about animal cruelty. I'm talking about animal agriculture.
Bring up animal agriculture. Why are you bringing it up then?
Cruelty. Okay, so you are against cruelty. You are
against animal cruelty.
Okay, so how are we going to kill? What's the figure now? I think 50 billion. We're talking about billions anyway. Maybe it's 500 billion. I think it's about 500 billion land animals that are murdered each year. How are you going to kill hundreds of billions of animals?
I'm not going to kill animals. I've never killed an animal in my life.
Right.
Maybe a bird.
And why is that?
Because it's just not my thing.
And why is that?
I don't know. I mean,
would it make you feel bad if you killed an animal?
Why do you go to the gym every day?
Would it make you feel bad if you killed an animal?
Yeah, I mean, why? I'm not going to kill an animal.
Okay.
I'm not saying.
So you agree that it's morally wrong to kill animals?
No, that's not answering the debate.
Yeah, it is.
You already.
Why wouldn't you? No. Let's. If there was a pig just wandering around in somebody's backyard, he had a little backyard farm. He's nice to his pigs. Would you kill that pig? If he said it's totally okay if you kill my pig and eat it, would you kill that pig yourself?
Dude, you're getting really desperate.
No, I'm not. Would you kill that
Yeah,
pig
you
yourself?
are. You already conceded the whole debate.
Would you kill that pig yourself?
Why? What does this have to do with the morality of eating
Would
meat?
you kill that pig yourself? If it's totally morally acceptable to kill animals and not cause their suffering, just kill animals, would you kill that pig yourself? I'm just asking you.
I already told you I
Okay,
don't
so
kill
clearly you
pigs.
have a problem with killing animals in any context. So you do agree that in the animal agriculture industry, it's wrong what we're doing because we can live off of plants just fine.
No.
Why? So why wouldn't you kill an animal yourself?
Why do you insist on asking that question over and over?
Because it points out that you're a hypocrite.
Well, you're a hypocrite too.
No. Why would, if you say you're against cruelty, but you're not against killing animals, and you had a friend who had his own little tiny backyard pig farm and he was nice to his pigs and he said, you can eat that pig, have a shit ton of bacon, like year's supply of bacon, but you have to kill that pig yourself. Why wouldn't you do it?
Why are you asking the same question over?
So you can't answer. Okay.
No, it's just because you lost
You
the
can't
debate.
answer. No,
You're
you can't
desperate.
answer. Right, you can't answer that because you wouldn't kill
Doesn't
a pig
mean
because
you
you think
want,
it's morally
dude.
unacceptable.
It does. This has nothing to do with the morality of eating
Right,
meat.
so you can't. Okay, so if it has nothing to do with morals, then why wouldn't you kill the pig?
Why wouldn't you gas a rabbit? Why wouldn't you?
Because there's
why
no
wouldn't you-
moral justification for it.
Well, what if the rabbit was invasive, and it was
If it's an
coming into
invasive
your house?
species,
If it was coming into your house and it was trying to, I don't know, mess with you or something.
yeah, then I'd just take it outside.
Okay, so you wouldn't kill it either.
If it's an invasive species, I'd probably just capture it, put it in a cage, and then send it off to wildlife authorities. Maybe they could rehome it or something.
Okay, this is fun.
No, well, why wouldn't you kill a pig?
I mean, I
Like
told
it's
you
funny how
already.
you can't. No, you didn't. You just kept avoiding the question. Why
It's
would?
not funny how I can't answer it. It's funny because you just keep saying the same thing. Because
No,
you
why
already
wouldn't you kill the
conceded
pig? Because you
everything.
won't answer.
What?
You won't answer the question.
this
If
how
you
you-
if
is
you
this how
had
you
if you're
debate,
against
bro?
animal cruelty, okay, so you can't answer the question. You agree that it's wrong to kill animals for no reason.
There is a reason. We already said it's necessary.
No, it's not. Why is it necessary for you to go to the grocery store and buy cow or chicken or pig?
I mean, this is the beginning of the debate. I guess you forgot what we talked about, but
No.
You
We're not
remember?
talking about weird contexts where we're talking about killing invading species.
It's not
We're
weird.
talking about your choice. We're talking about your choice to go to the grocery store and eat cow, chicken, or pig. Why do you do that? Why is that morally acceptable?
Why is it morally acceptable for you to eat wheat or like a plant that has killed animals?
Because that's the best choice that I have.
So you're just basically saying your choices are ethical, but mine aren't. Because
I have to eat something, and that those are the foods that cause the least amount of harm.
But
So
we
why are
already-
you choosing? Why are you choosing to eat foods that cause more harm?
so
why
you're,
is it acceptable?
you're back to reduced harm, reduced suffering.
Why you can't answer these
I
questions?
thought you conceded reduced suffering, but you can go back to it.
Answer questions. We're talking about the animal agriculture industry. We're already.
This is why your debates go so long, because you
we're
just like
already
to go
past.
as long as you can.
It's morally. We're already past the point that it's morally acceptable to kill certain animals in certain contexts, like invading species, or if you really do need to survive. In the case of indigenous people.
Well,
So
that's
why
the
do
whole
you make the
debate,
choice?
bro.
No, why do you make the
That's
choice
the
to
whole
go to the
setup.
grocery
You
store?
lost.
No, it's not. Why do you go to the grocery store and choose to buy cow, chicken, or pig when you don't need to? You could just buy more healthy, the more ethical options.
I mean, why do you go to the store and pick your items? I know you're gonna say you don't pick
Lentils,
yeah. Why do you pick those?
lentils and oats, because they're good for me, high in protein, and they don't cause much harm.
But
That's why.
some harm, right?
Yeah, obviously, but everything I'm gonna eat has caused some amount of harm. But I choose the foods that cause the least amount of harm.
Okay, well, I could choose deer meat when it's in season, and it would cause less harm.
Okay,
than what you're
so
saying.
why do you? Okay, so let's get past that. Okay, for the sake of argument, when it's in season, do you only eat deer meat?
Yeah,
Okay, and why do you eat cow, chicken, pig the rest of the year?
because
Why is
I
that
don't know.
morally justified?
I mean, we already went over this. You're just
No, we
circling,
didn't. You just claim we already went over this when we didn't, and you won't answer the question. So just answer the question.
Well, we were talking about what's the most morally ethical. And
No. Just answer the question. Why do you go to the grocery store and eat cow, chicken, and pig when you don't have to?
Because when you go to a grocery store, you see options on the shelf and then you pick things.
Right. And you could choose to pick the options that cause less harm, like lentils and oats.
Well, so can you, but you don't choose the least amount of harm. You don't choose deer meat.
Again, we already went over this point. I said I'm not convinced that eating deer meat causes any less harm than
you're just going to have to see the response videos when people look it up and tell you that deer meat isn't invasive. Yeah, this is going to be a great quote.
Well, no, they're not, at least not here. They're not an invasive species and they don't overpopulate here. So why would I eat deer meat?
Basically what you're saying is you need to reduce suffering to an arbitrary amount that you've decided.
Not an arbitrary amount. I'm saying like as much as reasonably possible.
So what's reasonable? I mean, that's arbitrary. You can't just say.
No, it's not. Like reasonable is okay.
Reasonable is objective.
When I go to the grocery store, I'll tell you what my options are. I can choose lentils, oats, beans, rice, or I could choose steak, chicken, fish, eggs. Those are my options. Those are my only options. I've never seen venison at the grocery store anywhere in Toronto, except at Whole Foods. That's the one exception.
Well, that comes back to,
again, I'm not actually convinced that
you have to be familiar with the farming and where you're at and stuff. But I have heard green crab is not invasive, is not as morally ethically wrong.
I've never seen green crab anywhere. So if
I
go to
look it up, man.
No, I don't. There's no green crab here. Again,
if you don't, you just said there's no green crab in Canada.
I don't know where the fuck it is because I've never even heard of it.
Okay, well then
again, you're not answering the question.
You're appealing to stupidity.
No.
This is an appeal to stupidity. Fallacy.
You're not answering my questions, and you're trying to divert the whole conversation.
No, dude, it's just
go to a grocery store. You're not even answering my questions. If we go to a grocery store, if you go to a grocery store and your only options are, as far as meat goes, are beef, chicken, pork, and you have other plant options, lentils, oats, beans. What is the more moral food choice? I mean,
I'd have to Google it, I guess, but
you have to Google it.
I'm not here trying to be the most ethical, moral person.
No. What is the more moral choice between those foods?
You're the one that's trying to be the moral grandstand.
You'd have to Google it.
Yeah.
You think it's the same amount of suffering goes into making a bag of lentils and making a steak?
Well, again, we said it's on a spectrum, but
it's not a spectrum. No. When you buy meat on a store, you know for a fact that an animal probably suffered in that industry, very high likelihood. And you know that an animal had to die to make that meat. So you know that an animal most likely, very high likelihood, suffered in that industry and 100% fact died. With a bag of lentils, do you think the same amount of suffering and death went into making that bag of lentils?
I mean, I guess not, but that's not the point.
Oh, okay. So then you agree that lentils are a more ethical option than steak.
Right, but you're still killing animals.
Okay, so then you agree. Okay, no, again, there's another appeal to futility, so it's a bullshit argument. So again, you have no justification for going to a grocery store and supporting the animal agriculture industry. I mean, and you haven't even made a good case for eating things like venison.
If you eat invasive species, like I said, you're actually you're reducing suffering more than vegans.
No, again, not necessarily. And this is a very weird specific context. Again,
it's how many
store? Sorry?
It's not that hard to go to a grocery store and get deer or crab.
Yeah, it is. I'm in Toronto.
So now you're appealing to futility because you're saying it's just
no one has
hard.
Crab.
You're just saying it's too hard.
That's sorry. Excuse. You haven't even proven that hunting for deer or green crab is a better ethical option than eating something like lentils.
Well, it is.
How? Why?
Because they're invasive species, and then
that doesn't matter. You have to look at the hunting practices and the fishing practices involved see if what causes less overall harm. And again, like this is also ignoring issues like health. So should we kill and eat these animals and also cause human death? Because heart disease is the leading cause of death in America and worldwide.
Yes.
We're talking about 600,000 deaths
Nice,
worldwide.
bro.
So again, this is another
I told myself
thing to
that
consider.
you would have truly lost if you pivoted to nutrition, and you didn't.
I'm not pivoting on anything. I'm just
you did it,
telling
bro.
you, you're not
You
considering the full
just don't
context.
even know when you lost.
Right. Let's see. Your argument so far is that I can find a weird certain context where I can morally justify eating meat in one particular context. Therefore, in every single context, eating meat is perfectly justified.
No, the argument is your argument is not consistent. You're not the most
No, it
moral.
is.
Just because you don't eat meat doesn't mean you're the most ethical person. You're
I'm
inconsistent.
not talking about being the most ethical person in the world just because I don't eat meat. I'm saying if you have the choice in a grocery store to either eat plants, like buy plants, or buy animal products, the plants are the more ethical option.
Okay, and there's also more ethical options than even that, and you just refuse to go
like
that
again,
far.
you're just repeating the same nonsense you've repeated before.
No,
I
you
already
just
told
set a line and you don't want to go
deer
past it
isn't. No, I'm already saying. I already told you about this. Like
because you're like
isn't necessarily more
reasonable,
ethical than lentils.
You're basically
Like, you're-
too lazy to go any further.
No, I'm not. And who's being lazy here? You're the one who just admitted that you're picking meat off the shelf because you just don't even care.
Well, that's about the culpability of someone from the purchases they make at a store. That's a whole other thing. If you want to get into that, that's fine. But then we got to move on past this morality of eating meat.
So you don't think if you deliberately choose to support an unethical industry that is just overtly unethical, like you're talking about killing billions of animals for no justifiable reason, you don't think
we are agreeing that you're moving
you don't
on
think
past
anyone's responsible for what they purchase?
So I beat animal rights, and then we
No, you
also
didn't.
beat reduced suffering.
No, you didn't.
And then now you pivoted to nutrition
and again, if you're going to
and
talk about
culpability for
no,
purchases. You're all
Sorry?
over the place, man.
No, you're just ignoring everything I say, and you won't even answer my questions. Like the fucking would you kill an animal argument.
That's
Why
not
wouldn't
an
you
argument.
kill?
That's
No.
a question.
Yeah, it is.
You're just trying to like sensationalize because
No,
you're already
you've flat out
behind.
admitted
Bro.
that
you're
you find-
behind. You're the
flat out
freaking
admitted
calves
that you
right
think
now.
wrong to kill animals for no justifiable reason. But
We
like
already
you've
said
already
it was
lost the debate.
justified.
You've already admitted that it's wrong.
No, we already said it was justified and necessary.
No, in certain specific contexts. Again, you don't understand the concept of context.
Well, I mean, you could keep saying I don't understand stuff all day, but that doesn't
Okay,
mean
no,
you're
no, no.
wrong.
Let me explain it to you this way. If you think that because actually, just so I can clarify your point of view. So let's say deer are an invading species, and we have to kill them, and you think it's moral, and therefore it's morally justified to eat their meat. Do you think it is therefore morally justified to have animal agriculture industries that kill animals like unnecessarily, like when we have perfectly fine plant options?
Well, I would say, that plant options kill animals as well.
Okay, so you agree that the animal agriculture industry is immoral. Again, you're just ignoring the fucking context here.
Well, no, you brought up.
No, no. You're ignoring the context here. Like again, we're back to appeal to futility. You can't stop all suffering, therefore all suffering is justified. So you
I
think
never said that.
No, so yes, you did. That's
No,
the implication.
you're
That's the
saying
implication
that,
of what you're saying.
Just because you say something doesn't
we keep
mean I
going in
said
this
it.
loop. No, we keep going in this loop where you won't answer the question and then you appeal to some other fallacy.
Let me ask you a question. Would you personally gas a rabbit?
For what fucking reason?
I'm just saying, would you do it ever?
For what reason?
Okay, I'm just saying, it doesn't matter what reason. You asked me if I'd kill a pig.
If it would cure cancer, sure.
Okay, so you would gas a rabbit.
If it would cure cancer, sure, I'd gas a rabbit. If there's no fucking justifiable reason for me to kill a rabbit, I wouldn't do it.
Then you're being inconsistent. You're being inconsistent. If you kill a rabbit.
No, I'm not. Again, I'm talking about reducing harm as much as reasonably possible and looking out for the common good. Like,
okay, but
killing a rabbit for no fucking reason doesn't support any sort of good.
Well, the products of the stuff that you eat is killed by gassing rabbits.
No, it's not.
Pesticides. I told you that people hunt pest animals for agriculture.
Hunt?
Shoot them.
I'd actually, yeah. Not anymore. I'd imagine.
All right, well, this is just gonna be
I'd imagine
great clip for the recap because you're totally wrong.
I haven't looked in too much into killing like mammals that are considered pest animals. I do know like plenty of insects are killed in agriculture, but I haven't looked into that too much. But that's some old world kind of stuff you're talking about.
Well,
like,
yeah, I'm sure they're
pretty
trying
sure
to minimize
farmers
it.
on like farms that go on for kilometers don't just go out into the field and shoot rabbits. Pesticides.
If they're going after the crops, it happens.
If it is a problem at all.
If they're going after the crops, they shoot pests. And I'm saying, you asked me to kill a pig, and then I ask you to kill a rabbit.
No, like you're okay. Let me.
It's just harder.
No. Let me explain this. No, shut up. Let me explain the situation. Human beings need a certain amount of calories today to maintain our existence. If we eat a caloric deficit for too long, we'll waste away and die. Correct? So say we need to eat 2,000 calories a day to maintain our existence. Would 2,000 calories of wheat per day equate to the same amount of suffering and death as 2,000 calories of pork?
Not pork, but you could pick, crab or deer or one of those other invasive snakes. There's okay. So you're saying the entire population of Earth, like 7 billion people, we can exist only on invasive species? No, I'm answering your first question.
So then we do need to rely on plants and agriculture for our food.
No, we don't.
Yes, we do. You're saying 7 billion people don't need to rely on agriculture. We can get rid of agriculture and we could still all live. 7 billion of us.
I'm saying you could remove any component of food. Food is a blanket term. We need food to survive. You can remove any certain food you want and still survive. So you're suggesting removing meat. I say you could remove wheat, or you could remove fruit, or you could remove peanuts. You can remove anything.
This is absolute nonsense. You're talking as if you're trying to muddy the waters and act as if anything that causes any amount of suffering is just as bad as another.
It is.
Oh, okay. Well,
think about it this way: if we're both murderers,
any amount of suffering is just as bad as another. So me accidentally killing somebody driving a car, that's just as bad as me actually going out and shooting somebody?
So you want me to repeat what I said about intent again? We already talked about intent.
Okay, fine. Let's talk about intent. I intentionally punched my wife in the face. That's as bad as going out and shooting a bunch of people.
I don't know what does this have to do with anything?
Oh, okay. Again, so you can't understand that I'm trying to point out the
I'm not
logical inconsistencies of your argument. So now you're playing dumb. I don't understand what that had to do with anything.
Richard, if you can be inconsistent, so can I. You've been proven inconsistent.
If you want to win the debate, you can't be inconsistent. So, okay, you admit to being inconsistent and deliberately lying.
So then
okay.
you just said
you admitted to deliberately lying and being inconsistent.
You can't win if you're inconsistent.
Right. You admit to being inconsistent. Great job. You admit to being inconsistent. Great job. You're winning, dude. Yeah, you're winning.
Okay.
You admit to being inconsistent. There you go.
I think you're losing your cool, man. Take a breath.
Oh yeah, a little bit.
Yeah.
So again,
this is what losing a debate feels like.
No. Whenever I ask you about what causes less harm, you either ignore the question and try to divert the entire argument, or you make the fallacy that one wrongdoing is just as bad as any other wrongdoing.
Well, let me put it to you this way. Say you killed one person and I killed 10 people. Which one's worse?
Killing 10 people.
But
that's exactly my argument.
So are you still not a killer?
No, that's not what I'm saying. Like I'm saying
that is what you're saying. That's reduced harm.
Yeah, exactly. That like one wrongdoing is better than the other wrongdoing. That doesn't mean it's not wrong.
So you are immoral.
No, the point
you're
is
immorally killing these animals, and you said
no.
Killing is just
again. You're removing the context from the situation. We need to eat to survive.
Yeah,
I'm choosing options that cause less harm And your argument so far is, oh, well, you cause harm, so that means I can cause as much harm as I want.
No, it doesn't. In your logic,
that's been your whole argument so far.
Okay, I got you. So what your argument is saying is we're trying to reduce harm, right? And you've set an arbitrary line at veganism for your personal reasons.
I didn't set an arbitrary line. I'm just using this based off of basic logical reasoning. These are the best options I have. Therefore,
so you set the line at veganism, and you're not going all the way to zero. So basically, if we want,
it's not a zero-sum game.
You can go to zero.
Like how?
Not cause any harm.
How? By shooting myself in the head?
I mean,
oh,
okay,
appeal to
process,
futility.
But you could also be a freegan or live off the land, kill things that die naturally.
Freegan is vegan, same fucking thing.
No, it's not. You're not
killing
anything.
It is.
You're not causing any
suffering. The suffering and death of animals. That's basically veganism. It's just a play on words.
Vegans actually don't cause suffering and death. Vegans do. You already admitted that.
Yeah, it's very difficult to live only off of food you find for the vast majority of people. We're talking about things on a population scale. Like you're trying to suggest that everyone can just find food. Really? So nobody has to pay for food at all anymore? 7 billion people. No one has to pay for food.
Well, if you want to talk about the practicality, I mean, that's a whole other thing.
Well, yeah, obviously practicality is kind of an issue here.
Well, you're suggesting
that doesn't matter, right?
You're suggesting people go to vegetarian diets. I mean, that's a whole other practicality argument, but I don't want to get into that.
No, it's not. No, pretty much everyone in modern Western civilization has access to a grocery store where they can get all the nutrients they need from plant foods.
They also have access to invasive meats at their grocery store that they could eat.
No, not everyone, and they can't even live off of that only.
You don't need that only. You can have plants and some of those.
Okay, well, why?
And then in that situation, you're actually more moral than a vegan.
Then you agree that the animal agriculture industry is immoral.
I agree that you can be
okay. So you agree that the animal agriculture industry is immoral. Growing,
no, you cut me off.
Raising animals for chickens, cows, pigs is immoral. You keep talking about invasive species. So okay, you never mention.
Well, here's the thing. If you let me finish a sentence or two, I could explain things. But basically, you're saying I'm saying you could cause less harm by incorporating some invasive species into your diet right now. You could do that.
Like what?
Won't.
Me? Like what?
Yeah. Like deer or crab or whatever.
I don't have access to deer. I don't have access to.
Order it on Amazon or something. Google it. I don't know, man. Just you could get it mailed.
Why? Like again, if we're gonna talk about.
I mean, you got elk for your dog to eat. I don't know how you got that elk for Lucy.
Well, I didn't.
Get other meat.
That's just a stupid rumor that people made up. I didn't get elk for Lucy. She was eating turkey necks and like chicken livers.
Okay, well, you could find those meats. Then just find the invasive meats. If you're all about being the most moral possible, why aren't you trying to be more moral?
Where am I going to find invasive meats?
So you're saying because I can't point to a grocery store that sells it, you're saying you just won't do it.
Well, again, you're eliminating practicality from the equation. Like, am I supposed to go to Nova Scotia where they sell green crab?
Yeah, why not?
And you realize that they're not just harvesting green crab, these ships.
I'm not sure.
Yeah, they're not just scooping up green crab.
Okay.
So again,
you sound a little desperate.
No, I'm not. Like again, you're trying to point to these weird little invasive species arguments when again, I told you we should frame this in the context of animal agriculture industry, but you refuse to acknowledge any of that. And each time I ask you, why is it justified to raise animals in the agriculture industry to kill? You won't answer it. You just jump to some other, you could
know why?
A bit more.
You know why? Because this argument or this debate is the morality of eating meat.
Yeah, and I'm pretty sure the vast majority of people can't just eat invading species. So
okay,
yeah,
but I'm
the
saying
only options available to most people.
That's why you've moved on to talking about something else because
no, it's not because we agreed on at least two things that in some contexts it can be morally justified to consume animal flesh. For instance, if there are invading species in your area then it could be considered morally acceptable to kill and eat those animals. And if you're an indigenous tribes person or like in very extreme poverty and the only way you can get enough food is by killing animals through hunting, in those two contexts, I can concede that it is morally acceptable to kill animals.
I love
but on the seven, no, if we're talking about on the population scale, like what is the most practical solution for most people? Like,
well, that's
there's
why
a reason why we have
a pivot.
No, we have no. I'm not. Like again,
because we already proved
frame this in the context of animal agriculture.
We proved it can be moral.
So you never buy cow, chicken, and pig.
We already proved that
you never buy cow, chicken, and pig. Okay, so you do.
See how you're doing this again? You just cut people off and ask questions.
So are you saying you never buy cows, chickens, and pigs to eat?
See how you did this before, and I'm not going to fall through pressure.
You can't answer these hard questions. Okay.
This is how you like to operate.
Right. I can answer all of your questions, but for some reason, when I ask you directly about these things, I can't answer that.
I could answer if you let me talk.
Okay. Well, whenever you do talk, you talk about something completely different. So do you eat cows, chickens,
if you
and
gave
pigs?
me a chance to finish, I would be able to bring it back.
Do you eat cows, chickens, and pigs?
Jeez, dude, you sound like a little kid.
It's a yes or no answer. Do you eat cows, chickens, or pigs? Okay, so you do. Okay, why do you think that is morally justified? When you agree that in those particular contexts, it is only justifiable to eat meat when it's an invading species, or if you need to hunt to survive. So why is it morally justified for you to eat cows, chickens, and pigs?
You don't see that as an inconsistency.
Okay. So you can't answer the question.
Yeah, I mean, dude, you don't let me talk.
You can't answer the question. Yeah, you're not talking. It's a yes or no question. Like, it's a yes or no question. Do you eat cows, chickens, and pigs? Why is that morally acceptable? And then you start making
Okay. I'll play. I just like seeing it heated, but
yeah, great.
I eat cows, chickens, and pigs.
And why do you think that is morally acceptable?
Because we all eat meat out here, Richard.
Okay, so you're making an appeal to popularity, which is a logical fallacy, which is just inconsistent.
No. I mean, that's just you using your debate.
That's an appeal to that's an appeal to popularity. It's a logical fallacy, so that's not a valid argument. Okay. In some places of the world, most people support jihad. Does that make jihad ethical?
No. Okay,
so then that argument is logically inconsistent. So why is it morally acceptable for you to eat cows, chickens, and pigs?
I don't have to defend my food
choices.
You
do. Well, yeah, you do, because that's what this whole debate is about. And
no, it's about the morality of eating meat.
No, you didn't. We can agree in certain contexts that it is in certain contexts morally acceptable. But if we're talking about
consistency, Richard.
Sorry?
That's an inconsistency.
No, it's not. That's not a logical inconsistency. I haven't made any blanket statement that no one should ever eat meat ever. Like, my argument from the very beginning is always being harm reduction and just doing as best you reasonably can. Have you actually looked up the definition of veganism?
If you want to go back to harm reduction, you gotta ask yourself why.
Okay, so no. Again, answer me. Why do you think it is acceptable to raise animals in animal agriculture, cows, chickens, and pigs, and kill them? Why?
I never said it was. I said I'm
against animal cruelty. Okay, so then you agree that it's immoral. Okay, so then you agree it's immoral.
Animal cruelty.
Right, so then you agree it's immoral.
That's not the only way to eat
You can't answer the question, so you agree it's immoral. You wouldn't even kill an animal yourself.
You wouldn't either.
Yeah, and I don't eat meat. What are you talking about?
Your plants kill your food causes the death of animals too, Richard.
Yeah, and driving cars causes the death of people. Are you saying that like driving a car makes you a murderer?
No, but
does it make you morally responsible for your actions?
I'm saying that your diet is not you cause the death of
animals.
I'm not saying
it's perfect. I never claimed it's perfect. I'm saying I'm reducing like harm as much as I reasonably can.
You claim it's perfect when you set up a debate that says let's prove it's immoral to eat meat.
I never said what was the exact message I sent you? I can actually tell everyone right now about the debate because this is on Twitter. I actually even posted this, I believe. Just give me a second to look through these messages. I asked to discuss whether or not it's morally justified to kill and eat animals. So
Already proved that.
we should talk about, no, like, again, I already agreed with you in certain contexts. It is morally justified to kill and eat animals.
That
If
sentence right
they're
there.
an invading
I won.
species.
That
No,
sentence
it
means I
doesn't.
won.
No, it doesn't, because you support the animal agriculture industry. The animal agriculture industry is where the vast majority of people get their meat. Very few people hunt or even get their food from hunters. So again, like, if we're going to talk about this honestly, let's talk about every single context.
Okay.
So, okay, I agree. In those two contexts, it can be morally justified to kill any animals. Killing
I love
invading
hearing
species.
you say that.
And
That's
then
beautiful.
No,
That's
killing.
beautiful.
Well, I think I even talked about this in a previous video where I agreed. But anyway, it's morally acceptable to kill any animals in very specific contexts where if it is an invading species and it would cause more overall good for you to kill the animal than if you were to just leave it be, then it can be morally acceptable to kill and eat that animal. And if you're like an indigenous tribes person or in a very, very poor country or poor area of your country where the only way for you to get enough food is to hunt, that's acceptable. That's for survival, essentially. But in the context of going to the grocery store where you have an option, like all the options you really could ask for, you have all these meats like chicken, beef, and pork. Well, and you also have all these plant options like lentils, beans, cashews, like you fucking name it. Like, why is it morally acceptable to eat animals in the animal agriculture industry?
Well, again, like I said, both sides cause the death of animals. We're talking about the reduction of death.
Okay,
agree
and
on
you
that.
agree that vegans cause less suffering and death than meat eaters.
What I'm saying is you pick an arbitrary amount to reduce suffering, but you're mad at us for not coming down to your level.
Yeah, essentially.
So, I mean, what?
So then you
say-
agree. So then you agree that a vegan diet is more ethical.
Yeah, possibly, potentially. It depends on the
What
person.
do you mean? No, what do you mean potentially? Well, let's just say on a population scale, let's get rid of individual variation. On a population scale, United States, are vegans eating a more ethical diet than your average meat eater?
Right now?
Yeah, right now on a population scale in the United States, are vegans
Well, there's
eating a
only
more
like
ethical diet?
isn't there like only 2% that's
I think it's
vegan?
about 3 to 4%, but anyway, that doesn't even matter.
So we have to scale it, I guess.
Okay, fine. Like your average vegan compared to your average meat eater, I don't even fucking care.
Okay, well, it'd be hard. We'd have to break it down. I mean, think
No,
about
it's not hard. No,
Yeah,
it's
it
not
is.
hard. No, it's not hard.
So you're just
Why-
saying I'm right because
No,
I'm right.
So
You don't wanna
no,
let me
why is it acceptable in any circumstance in a civilized modern society where people have access to any foods they want? Why is it justified to eat animal products that are raised in agriculture? So chickens, cows, pigs.
So you're
Name
agreeing
the
that
context. No, I don't even care. Just name one context where, assuming that someone has access to a grocery store, they can eat any plant foods they want, any animal products they want. Why name one context where it would be acceptable to buy animal products like cows, chickens, pigs?
Okay. What if the cow lived a long, wonderful life out in the field and it died of natural causes and you got the steak and there was no suffering?
Okay, do you think that's realistic?
It's possible. I mean, you said name one
No,
situation.
well, first of all, no, it's not. If the cow died of natural causes, it would be considered hazard waste material and it would be burned. I've
Okay,
actually seen that.
Are we debating the suffering as in the killing of the cow is wrong or the eating of the cow?
I would contest that the killing of the cow is wrong because it's a sentient being that has a will to live.
So what if
you're
it
killing it
didn't?
needlessly?
What if you put it to sleep and it didn't know it was being killed and there was no suffering?
Okay, what if you put a human to sleep and it didn't know he was being killed and there was no suffering?
I don't know. I mean,
Would that make it ethical?
Are you going to eat a human?
Sure. Would that make it ethical?
I don't know.
You don't know.
Whole
You don't know if it would be ethical or not to put a human being to sleep and kill and eat it.
Well, we were talking about reducing suffering, not about.
Oh God. This is getting so fucking brutal.
I know, man. It sucks, dude.
You're not sure if it's ethical or not to tranquilize a human being and then kill and eat it while it's asleep.
Well, that's kind of pivoting because we were talking about reduced
That's not
suffering.
pivoting. This is just pointing out the logical inconsistencies.
I don't think it's okay to kill humans, bro. You just try to pivot to that.
No, so so why don't we talk about that? Why is it?
You want to talk about?
No,
you want to say that animals have rights?
Why is it okay? No, why is it okay? Why is it morally justified to kill animals for no real justifiable reason other than you like their flesh, and it's not justifiable to kill a human for the same reason?
Well, we already agreed that it's necessary to kill animals to survive.
No, we didn't.
So
in certain contexts, do you need to kill animals to survive?
Yeah, I mean, even your plants kill animals.
You do. No, you need to kill animals. Okay, again, we're back at the fallacy, like a small amount of suffering caused justifies.
No, that's not what I'm saying. I'm saying
that's exactly what you're saying.
You can't shift from animal rights back to reduce suffering. That's called the VeganGains shuffle. You're doing the VeganGains shuffle.
No. We already agreed that any food you buy, some amount of harm is going to be involved in making that food. But the point is, which foods cause less harm? Meat products or
talking about
plant
animal
products?
rights. We're talking about reduced suffering again. Because you just said that
this has nothing to do with animal rights.
Yeah, because when you set it up, you said,
again, this has nothing to do with animal rights.
Needless and unnecessary. You say needless and when you set up the idea of eating meat, you said the needless and unnecessary death of animals, and I'm saying we already agreed that it's necessary.
No, you're
even with plants.
No, you're removing context. You're removing the context.
No, that's what you asked. You said unnecessary, unneeded killing of animals.
No, you're taking away the context. You're saying, okay, suffering is necessary to produce food, therefore it's okay to kill and eat animals?
No, I'm saying that either way you're killing an animal, so it's necessary.
Okay, no, in either way we're killing an animal, but let's say if we need to eat a certain amount of calories per day, say let's put it at 2,000, would 2,000 calories of rice kill as many animals as 2,000 calories of beef?
I mean, we'd have to count it out, but now we're not off of human rights.
We have to count it out.
Yeah, we have to reduce the suffering. Now you're talking about which one suffers less or which food causes the least suffering.
Yeah, the least amount of harm, essentially. So you're saying 2,000 calories of rice causes the same amount of suffering or harm as 2,000 calories of beef?
No, I'm not saying that, but what I'm saying is you set an arbitrary amount of suffering.
Then you agree. So then you agree that eating vegan reduces suffering.
In some cases, it depends on what you're eating, but what I'm trying to say is
on a population scale.
You're setting an arbitrary line. You're setting an arbitrary line for where you will accept suffering, and that's inconsistent. If you were truly consistent,
what's the arbitrary line? How am I coming to this? How is this arbitrary?
Your veganism, because it's not.
No, how is that arbitrary?
Because you're not reducing as much as possible.
Well, yeah, as much as reasonably possible. Like aside from blowing my own head off.
Again, yeah, that's not what I'm suggesting. That is the ultimate, theoretical goal. But I'm saying
that's not a theoretical. No, that's not a goal for me to kill myself.
No, not that. I meant that's the ultimate least suffering. It as a theoretical hypothetical.
Yeah, but then I'd have to kill myself, and I want to live.
Well, I think
it's perfectly reasonable for an animal to want to live. So in that context, how can I live while causing the least amount of harm I reasonably can?
You can eat invasive species. That's meat eating.
Okay, and I don't have access to that, and I don't even need to eat them personally. Like again, I could just I could donate it to a homeless shelter because I care about my health personally.
So that just kind of shows how you're biased to animals. You just don't want to eat animals. It's not about morality.
Yeah, it is about morality.
It's just this morality. You're saying it's morality, but that's just your opinion. This is your bias. Basically, you're biased to animals, and you want everyone else to be.
No, the reason I don't want people to kill and eat animals is because it's, for the most part, for the vast majority of people in modern Western civilization, it's completely unnecessary.
Well, so you're going back to necessity, which you already conceded.
Yeah,
multiple times.
Yeah, it's unnecessary for you to buy chicken, cows, and pork at a grocery store. So why do you do it?
Dude, I already went over this. It's like you forgot. I told you it's unnecessary for you to eat lentils, but they kill stuff.
Yeah, but so would everything I eat. So again, can you prove to me that switching from rice to lentils would save more animals?
No, I can't prove the specifics, but what I'm proving is that
Okay,
you're still
then you do
causing
agree.
harm,
Okay,
and
so-
you're just about
Right.
reducing.
So any amount of harm, if you cause any amount of harm, that means any harm that you cause is justified.
No, but it shows how you're inconsistent.
Okay, so again, we're back at, oh, I'm not making a logical fallacy. Oh, yes, I am. Oh, no, I'm not. Oh, you're talking about logical fallacies. You're a dork.
No, it's just you like to use these big
Okay,
words.
who's being inconsistent here? You admit that it's wrong to kill and eat animals in agriculture, then you admit to doing it, and then you make up logical fallacies like everyone around me does it, and then you won't admit, okay, yeah, it's wrong to kill and eat animals out of agriculture.
Basically, you set an arbitrary line, and you want us all to go there.
Okay, when you eat meat, are what percentage of animals are, what's the word, invading species?
What?
Like when you eat animal products, like meat, you know, like what percentage of the meat you eat is an invading species? So, like deer, what's the percentage over an entire year? What percentage of meat is deer?
I don't know. I have to check my countant or my books.
No, like what's like? Just give me a rough estimate. And you said it's seasonal too, so I'd imagine it's only from one season.
So, are we like trying to debate who's more ethical, me or you?
Well, that's
Is that what you want to do?
But the main thing I'm trying to drive home here is that the animal agriculture industry is fundamentally immoral, and you just flat out won't admit that.
Let's go ethical versus ethical. You say that I'm killing animals for my diet, right?
Yeah.
Okay, and that's why you claim that I'm unethical.
You're intentionally causing more harm than you need to.
Okay,
like that's the argument.
Then what about unethical things you do with animals?
Like what?
Well, we already agreed your plant-based diet causes death to animals in some degree.
Yeah, but again, that's the best choice that I have.
Okay. What about pets?
Okay.
So do you have pets?
Yeah, I've got a dog.
Just one?
Yep.
Okay. And does that dog stay with you by choice? Do you let it go outside?
Yeah,
Is it in a cage?
It stays with me by choice. It's the neediest fucking dog you've ever seen.
Is it caged?
Right now, right now she's in her little pen, but she needed to calm down.
Okay, and then I know there was problems with it shipping over to you, and you tried a vegan diet on it that wasn't very successful.
Well, what happened was the dog that we got from the breeder, it had a health problem, and it has a genetic disease that makes it not able to produce certain enzymes. And the reason she got so skinny and emaciated was because we weren't feeding her enzymes. And then when we went to the vet to talk about this, they thought it was some sort of weird bacterial infection.
Mm-hmm.
And then she kept getting skinnier and skinnier. And then when we did our own research, she started gaining weight again.
So you tried a vegan diet on a meat-eating animal.
Yeah, well, my mom's dog has eaten a vegan diet its entire life. Some dogs do perfectly fine on a vegan diet.
So all I'm getting at is, if we're going to talk about who's more ethical, I mean, you're caging and mistreating an animal.
Like, I'm not caging or mistreating an animal.
And then I just happen to eat a cheeseburger once in a while. I mean, I would say maybe yours is.
What do you know? Like, what do you mean once in a while? How often do you eat meat? Just in general, meat, period.
Every day, probably.
Okay, so you think eating meat every single day is just as bad as owning a dog?
I'm just saying that you're not totally.
Okay. So killing animals every.
I never killed animals though.
No, paying someone else to kill animals for you every single day is as bad as owning a dog.
Buying stuff at a store and
okay, so paying somebody to kill animals for you every single day is as bad as owning a dog. Okay, we got it. Another appeal to futility. Great.
No, you just like to rephrase things.
And again, this is just a personal attack against me. What if I didn't own a dog? What would your argument be?
Well, dude, you started the.
I own a computer, right? I own a computer.
Me.
That's just as bad as eating meat every day.
So you're saying you can attack me, but I can't attack you.
It's not a personal attack. I'm criticizing your actual lifestyle choices.
So am I.
Right. Okay.
So you're saying I can't do it for some reason, but you can.
No,
That's inconsistent.
The problem,
this is just a story of your channel, Richard. It's
trying to muddy the waters and say one wrongdoing, it justifies another. How does meat eating a dog make it morally acceptable for you to eat meat every single day?
It doesn't, but we were debating.
Okay, so then you agree that eating meat every single day is immoral.
No, but why do you always tell people what they say?
Explain why. Explain
why do you always
eating meat every single day is not immoral.
Richard, you gotta let me talk. You gotta let me talk, bro.
You're not talking about whether or not eating meat every single day is immoral. So answer the question. Why is it not immoral to eat meat every single day? And presumably from agriculture animals, not invading species.
What about where you got your dog?
Okay, no. This debate isn't about where I got my dog.
So you got it from a breeder.
No. The debate isn't about my dog. We're talking about the animal. We're talking about whether or not it's okay to eat meat.
So you want to pivot away from that debate now?
I'm not
who's more ethical?
Anything. We agreed that the debate would be about meat. So explain. You just made a statement that eating meat every single day is not a moral issue. So tell me why.
I did not say that,
single day. Yes, you did. You just said that.
No, Richard, you like to say what people say.
I just
See? You're doing it now. You're doing it now.
I just asked you, why do you think it's okay to eat? Why do you think it's okay to eat meat every single day? Why is that not a moral problem? So can you answer that question?
Well, we were actually talking about who's more ethical, me or you.
No, again.
Yeah, we were. You said we were, dude. This rewind on this debate is going to.
Why do you think it's acceptable to eat meat every single day? Why is that not a problem? And presumably from livestock animals, not. So
you don't want to talk about who's more moral because I brought up the breeding thing.
No, we're supposed to be talking about meat, whether or not it's ethical to kill animals, and we're talking. You don't want to talk about that now.
Okay. Just don't personally attack me, and then
Sure, fine. I don't want to talk about my dog. Great. Answer the question.
Okay, we can move on, but just admit that you're being inconsistent as well.
Fine, I'm being inconsistent.
Great.
Now answer my question. Tell me.
Have a conversation.
Great. Yeah, I know. Fantastic.
Okay. Now just repeat what you said. I'm sorry. I just forgot.
Why do you think it is morally acceptable to eat meat every single day? And presumably the meat you're eating every single day is not from invading species like deer, which under the strict definition isn't even an invading species.
So you want to know what you want me to justify eating meat every day?
Yeah, why do you think it's morally acceptable? You keep trying to avoid the question.
No, I'm not avoiding it. It's like you.
Okay, well then explain. Then just explain.
Let me finish. I got this. Basically, you try to frame people up like this on all your debates. You try to get them to prove that meat is moral or whatever, but really
this doesn't have to be. This isn't an issue between who's more moral or not. I'm asking you, why is it morally acceptable to eat meat every single day and presumably not from agriculture? This has nothing to do with me comparing. This has nothing to do with the comparison of me compared to you. Just answer the question.
Okay. Well, morality is subjective, right?
Whether it's subjective or not, it doesn't fucking matter. We
can
agree. No, we can agree. We can agree that it doesn't matter if it's subjective or not in this context, because we can agree on some moral things. We can agree on some moral concepts. We can agree that unnecessary suffering and death is wrong. We can agree that if we can reduce harm, it's a good thing. So in that context, explain, why is it morally acceptable to eat meat every single day, and presumably from agriculture animals?
It's like I said, the I don't know, you just keep repeating the same thing, bro. I just went over it.
No, you didn't. You didn't give an explanation.
Well, like I said, we already eat meat in society, so people have said
we already
it's moral.
Eat meat in society.
Yeah.
Okay, so social contract. So because there's no consequence for you, there's no real social consequence when you eat meat. You eat meat, nobody cares.
I mean, if meat
That's
was
why you're saying.
No, if meat was murder, then you would be arrested for it. It's not a law against meat.
No, we already know that, like, in the legal definition, eating meat doesn't equate to murder legally. So this is still about social contracts. So if you're saying this is a social contract, there's no consequence when you eat meat, at least no personal consequence. So you're saying because there's no consequence, no social consequence, it's justified to eat meat.
Morality is what people
No,
deem.
no. This has nothing to do with subjective morality. You just gave a reason for why you think it's acceptable to eat meat every day. You said social contracts between other
No,
people.
you said social contracts, bro. I never said that.
No, you did.
No, I didn't, man. You got to rewind this shit. You got to
That's
stop
great.
putting words
No,
in my mouth.
Well, you know what? I put like let's just agree to disagree.
fine, but I'm just
say your argument again, just so everyone knows.
Why don't you tell me
No,
why
just
meat
tell
is
everyone your
immoral?
argument again.
Tell me
Just
why
tell-
meat's immoral.
Why eating meat for a modern
Why is
human
it,
living
why is
in
it
Western
immoral?
civilization?
You think it's
because
so obvious, but you never explain.
yeah, I did. It's because it causes unnecessary suffering
That's
and
wrong.
death.
That's
and
wrong.
you have why?
Because we already agreed that it's necessary, bro.
No, again, you're taking away the context and you're making another appeal to futility.
No, I'm saying you already
we already agreed that suffering is necessary to produce food.
So why did you say it was
you're causing more
unnecessary?
suffering?
Why
The
did you
issue
say
is that you're causing more suffering. You're causing unnecessary added suffering
So why? But why did you say it's unnecessary if it is
and
necessary?
death. What are you talking about? I just told you the reason why it's immoral for us to eat meat. So people with similar lifestyles who are like modern humans living in Western civilization, we have access to all the plant foods we need, and buying animal products that come from agriculture, it's completely unnecessary, and you're supporting added suffering and death when there's absolutely no need to. That's why it's immoral.
We're
And
really
I asked
circling
you,
here, man.
and
I
asked
don't know if
you-
you forgot what we talked about, but we're really circling. If you're gonna go with animal rights,
well,
or
you know what?
reduce suffering.
No, sorry. We already agreed that in certain contexts, like killing invading species, or if you're an indigenous tribes person or very poor and you need to eat meat for survival, those two contexts, it's okay to kill and eat animals. Okay, we're already past that.
Yeah.
So now the issue is, why is it okay to kill and eat animals in the agriculture industry, like cows, chickens, and pigs? And so far, you've just done everything you can to avoid the question. So do you think it's moral?
Because I'm trying to get you to explain why you assume.
No, like, why is that?
Immoral. You assume that it's immoral.
I'm not assuming. I just gave a very valid reasoning behind it. Can you refute that? You're causing added suffering. So can you refute that?
Well, if we're going to go about reducing suffering, I mean, you aren't reducing suffering to the maximum. So how can you just pick
Okay,
a
so because
arbitrary
I'm
line
not
of-
reducing suffering to the maximum, therefore you can cause more suffering.
Well, technically, all I have to do is reduce suffering somewhat.
That's your reasoning, because I'm not reducing suffering as much as I possibly can.
Richard,
Therefore, it's okay for you to
gotta
kill
stop
animals
telling me what I
unnecessarily.
think. Richard, you can't tell people what they
That's
say.
exactly what you're saying. No, I'm not putting words in your mouth. That's exactly
that's all
what
you've
you're
been doing. You're like, you said this, you said this. If you ever knew
because what you say has absolutely no implications, right?
No, it's because you don't know how to converse with people.
Okay,
I never
so
said,
you agree that your words are absolutely meaningless and there's absolutely no implication in your speech.
What? See how you're putting words in my mouth? I didn't say that. Those aren't words I ever said.
Quiet.
Stop doing that.
So listen. The reason I think it is immoral for people like me and you to eat meat is because you're going to support animal agriculture. And the issue with that is you have plant options that cause less harm, less suffering and death. So why is it morally acceptable to cause more suffering and death by eating meat?
Well,
why is that acceptable?
You're not necessarily causing more suffering.
Well,
by
yes, you are.
it.
That is a fact. You are. And in the context of animal agriculture, you are for a fact. So can you explain why? Why you wouldn't be?
Why I wouldn't be what?
Why buying meat would cause, from agriculture, why would that not cause more suffering than buying plants? So fruits, vegetables, beans, legumes.
You're just circling again because you...
No, I'm not. I'm asking you a very direct question. And this is what you wanted to talk about, right? So you wanted to argue that eating meat from agriculture doesn't cause more harm than eating plants from agriculture.
No,
so can you explain why?
I did not argue.
So then you agree that eating meat from agriculture causes more harm.
Do you think that talking over people means you're right?
You've been talking over me about as equally this entire time. So can you answer the fucking question or not?
Well, I mean, I already proved that it's morally justified to eat meat, and you're not more moral than
No,
a meat
you
eater.
didn't. We're talking about this context in agriculture. We already agreed on the other thing, like invading species and whether you need to survive if you're an indigenous person. So now we're talking about agriculture. And your statement before was that you're not necessarily causing more harm by buying meat from a grocery store that was from agriculture. So can you explain why buying meat from agriculture, so chickens, cows, pigs, agriculture animals, why does that not cause more suffering than buying beans, lentils, legumes, grains? Why is
the problem here is
equal?
You're confusing your subjective morality with like objective. Everyone should.
We're not. Whether it's objective or subjective is irrelevant. Do you think it's?
No, it's very relevant.
No, it's completely okay.
You're
So
saying your
morals are subjective. Therefore, it's fine for me to kill you.
No, but you're saying
so. You're saying morals don't exist.
You're saying
talking about morals don't exist.
Morality.
So morals don't exist.
No, that's what you're saying.
So then it is better to reduce suffering.
I'm saying you're trying to impose...
No. Answer the question. Is it better to reduce suffering?
Reduce better than what?
Is it better to reduce suffering and death or cause more suffering and death?
It's always better to reduce, but...
Okay, so then you agree that buying plants is better than buying meat from agriculture.
Buying plants is better. It's hard to say about that, but what we're talking about...
hard to say. So you don't have an answer? Like you just admit you're a fucking dumb fuck who doesn't have an opinion on anything?
I'll admit that you're talking more and you're being louder and cutting me off.
Oh, okay. Well, why don't you just talk, okay?
Okay, now you're making funny voices. That's real.
Yeah, just talk.
So basically, your subjective morality is what everyone should have, is what you think.
My subjective morality, we just agreed that reducing suffering is better than causing more suffering. Like, you agree with my subjective morality. So what the fuck are you talking about?
No, you're talking about meat eating. It's like whether or not we should eat meat.
You just agreed with my subjective morality. It's better to reduce suffering than cause more suffering.
No, so the point today, Richard, is you're inconsistent.
With my subjective morality, then you'd have to agree that eating plants is better than buying meat from agriculture.
You're being inconsistent. That's the point today.
How am I being inconsistent?
You're biased towards animals.
How am I being... Okay, so how is that inconsistent? How is my reasoning inconsistent by saying it's better to reduce suffering than cause more suffering? How is it better? No, how is it better to cause more suffering by buying meat than reduce suffering by buying plants?
But you can reduce suffering more than a plant-based diet.
No, not everyone can do that. If we're talking about a population scale, maybe you could argue that with single individual people.
You're saying
okay, sure. Let's just say for the sake of argument, I could go to the store, reduce suffering more by buying venison, deer meat, and green crab. Okay, so let's talk about a population scale, and let's just talk about the majority of people who can either choose to only live off of plants from agriculture or eat or add meat to their diet that comes from agriculture. So chicken, cows, pigs. What lifestyle is more ethical?
The point is, you're
okay. Yeah, you can't answer the argument, right? You can't answer the question.
No, it's just
you're winning the debate. You can't answer the question. Like, why the fuck should I let you talk when you won't even answer the question?
I don't know. It's nice to do that on.
Okay, no. This is a fucking debate. So answer the goddamn question. Answer
what question, dude? You're just avoiding the fact that you're inconsistent.
No, I'm not. I just like. Do you have the fucking memory of a goldfish? I just asked you. Like taking away like my context, taking away that, like, okay, I agree for the sake of argument. If I went to the grocery store and bought venison and green crab, that would be more ethical than me eating a fully vegan diet. Okay. For the sake of argument, let's agree with that.
Yeah.
So let's talk about the general population who, if their only options were foods from agriculture, would it be more ethical to eat a fully vegan diet, excluding all animal products, and they just lived off of beans, lentils, rice, and like nuts, seeds? Or would it be more ethical or worse to buy meat, and meat from agriculture like cows, chickens, pigs? Which lifestyle would be more ethical? Either fully vegan or meat eating, mixed omnivorous diet and your meat is coming from agriculture. Which lifestyle is more ethical?
Well, you could have a meat-eating lifestyle that incorporates deer when it's in season and be more ethical than vegan.
Okay. So tell me, which lifestyle is more ethical?
I just
when
did.
You're consuming when you're consuming the majority of your meat from agriculture.
No, I said you can do incorporation of invasive species in season, and then you're less.
Yeah, in season. So what about the rest of the season?
Well, it doesn't have to be all year round. It could just be part of the year.
Okay, so then you agree that we can at least agree on this point that eating a vegan diet for most of the time, but when it's in season, invading species is a more ethical lifestyle.
Yeah, but it comes in season
okay,
every year.
Agree. So you agree eating a vegan diet most of the time and then only eating meat when the invading species are in season, that would be the way to go.
Well, no, because that's two different things.
No, what do you mean? So
you can't be vegan and eat meat.
No, I said vegan most of the time, but when the season comes and
you're
there's
vegan
invading
except
species,
for once a year.
Saying, no, quiet. Let me just explain. You're saying, just so I can get your point of view, you're saying that eating vegan for most of the year, but say 1 or 2 seasons out of the year when there's invading species, eating those invading species along with the rest of the food in your diet, that would be more ethical than eating meat from animal agriculture year-round.
Yeah. But that's
okay,
not really
so then you agree that the animal agriculture industry is immoral. Thank you. Okay,
I never said it was moral.
We finished.
I never said it was moral.
Okay, you agree then. You agree that the animal agriculture industry is immoral and
you're inconsistent and you're not minimizing suffering.
Thank you. You agree.
Yeah, I mean, what's your point? I said I was against animal cruelty like an hour ago.
But you support it, so you're a hypocrite.
So are you.
No, I'm not.
Yeah, you are.
No, I'm not. I'm not convinced that eating invading species does any
you feed your dog meat.
Right?
That's hypocritical because you say you shouldn't be killing animals for meat.
Well, not really. The food she gets the food she was getting was from like throwaway cuts of meat that isn't fit for human consumption. And it's the same with kibble. So
you want to eat some chicken hearts?
Yeah, do you want to eat chicken hearts and turkey necks? Do
you have any idea? Do you have any idea what your kind of reputation is on YouTube?
Okay, so now this is devolved to personal attacks. Okay, I'm a bad person. I get it.
You call me a hypocrite, so I can't call you a hypocrite?
Yeah, great. Well, you are being a hypocrite. You say that animal agriculture is immoral, and you still support it, so you're a hypocrite.
So are you.
Right, I'm glad we were actually able to come to that conclusion at least. So now you do agree that the animal agriculture industry is immoral and unnecessary.
And you're not reducing suffering to zero. You're still causing suffering.
Yeah, and between the two of us, who's doing a better job?
It's debatable. Like I said, you
got your
dog from a breeder. You got your dog from a breeder. That's very questionable.
Well, we didn't actually pay the breeder for the dog. We paid her for some vet bills. That's it.
So you're fucking dog.
You're saying
this isn't even about the dog.
Well, you just made it personal. You said you're more ethical than me.
Let's just assume that I didn't have a dog. Who would be living a more ethical lifestyle between me and you?
Let's just assume you didn't buy a dog from a horrible breeder and ship it across the country.
Yeah. Let's just assume that. If this was 5 months ago, so let's assume we were having this debate.
Can we assume
who would be living a more ethical lifestyle?
Well, can we assume I didn't do all the horrible things I did?
Yeah, sure. And you were just eating meat. If
you think me eating meat's horrible, let's excuse that, and then we'll excuse your dog. And I don't know, what are we, like, equal?
What? No, let's just assume that I didn't own a dog. Who's living a more ethical lifestyle between me and you? Assuming any other problems you had, like maybe you killed a person or ran over a grandma. Let's just throw out all that away, like, criminal bullshit. Just our normal everyday lifestyle, making YouTube videos, meeting friends, working out maybe. Who's living a more ethical lifestyle between me and you?
Let's do that. But if we're gonna cut out the fact that
if all other things are equal and it's just our diet that is different, who's living a more ethical lifestyle?
Well, no, you can't take away the breeding dog, and if I can't take away the eating animals.
Well, this debate isn't even fucking about whether like my dog. It's about eating animals. So
it is when you say who's more ethical. When you say who's more ethical, then I'm going to bring up shit you did.
Okay, so you can't answer the question. Right,
you're forgot about when grade A under A destroyed you 2 years ago.
Answer the question, right? Yeah, this is just gonna do wonders for your reputation on YouTube. You can't even answer a very simple question.
Just set up a question that like no one would win. I mean, it's like if I set you up with a question and you could.
If all other things are equal, except for our diets, who is living a more ethical lifestyle? Like this whole debate was about diet and whether or not it's okay to kill animals for food. So all other things equal, who's living a more ethical lifestyle?
Me.
Your food choices are more ethical than mine.
Yeah, I just eat deer when it's in season.
Oh, but you do eat meat every single fucking day.
No.
You just admitted earlier on in the fucking debate that you eat meat every single day.
I said that.
Oh, okay, so you said that. So we can't take anything you say seriously, so you could just be lying again right now. Oh, okay, great argument.
I mean, I could set you up with a horrible question.
Great argument. Yeah, right. We shouldn't trust anything you say. That's what you're saying?
No, that's what you're saying. You put words in people's mouths this
right. You said you made a claim earlier on, then you admitted to lying. So we can't trust anything you have to say. Okay, great.
I think it's over.
Anyway, I think this debate is about over. Thank you everyone for watching and donating in the super chat. So we did agree that in certain contexts, it is okay to kill animals and eat them, like killing invasive species to protect the ecosystem if you're an indigenous tribes person. But we did end up agreeing that it is immoral to support the animal agriculture industry, which...
I'm against animal cruelty, that's for sure.
Right, so you're against the animal agriculture industry.
I said anti-animal cruelty. Yeah, that's what I said. But I think the more important thing is that I proved that vegan diets aren't the most ethical, and I debunked animal rights.
Well, you didn't actually prove that. You'd have to actually go into you'd have to do a lot more to debunk that. But anyway, I think that's it for the debate. Thank you very much. No bullshit. I'll link your channel down below. Not that anyone's gonna fucking subscribe. I think after this, more people are gonna unsubscribe from you.
Thanks for having me on. It's been fun.
All right, no problem. And thank you everyone who donated in the super chat. Sorry, like I couldn't acknowledge all the comments.
I saved all the super chats. I think you should go through them.
Okay.
I sent them to your email.
Oh, my email? Okay, I guess we'll just go through the
it's quite a lot. It's 2 emails.
Okay. You know, because you guys donated, I think I'll just go through the super chats just to say thanks.
All right, I'm going to duck out. Thanks, everybody.
Okay, yeah, no problem. Thanks. All right, Stephen F2234 donated $20. Thank you very much. Richard doing a great job controlling your temper. Ask him about the cage match. Damn it, I forgot to ask him about the fucking cage match. Okay, I guess I'll ask him on Twitter if he's down to have the cage match. He did say that if he reached 10,000K likes on his video, he'd do the cage match. So we'll see if he's a man of his word. Intellect123 said, no bullshit, your argument is nonsensical, plus VeganGains is way too intelligent for you to debate, so move on, you fucking troll. Yeah. Oh god, he actually thinks he won that debate. That is just incredible. Wow, no bullshit, doesn't know how to debate. The Eye of a Foolish Guy said that. Thank you very much, Eye of the Foolish Guy, for donating $2.
You're still getting super chats, by the way, so you should keep it open.
What?
On the live stream, people are still donating.
Yeah, I guess people can't see my screen. Thank you very much, Treach on Metal, for donating 10 SEK. I can't remember what currency that is. I think it's Swedish.
Open your live stream because people are still donating. You're missing them. It's a $2 donation, so you have to scroll up.
I
think the $2 ones don't show up in the top.
I don't know. Matt Richards just donated $20. Thank you very much. He says VeganGains rock. Thank you very much, man. Really appreciate it. Damian Thomas donated 100 euros, I think, or pounds? Holy fuck. Thank you very much, man. Super, super appreciate that. He says, using no bullshit's logic, you should eat dead invading Muslim human animals. Go on my channel for a great video regarding eternal pleasure and eternal sorrow. Also, an amazing refutation of a destructive ideology, Islam. There is no ads on my videos. Thank you very much, Damian Thomas. And everyone, check out Damian Thomas. He has some pretty awesome Muslim videos, apparently. I'm definitely going to check out your channel after the stream. I'll write it down right now. All right, and we'll go back to the ones that Jasmine saved. Kylie's Wild World donated $5. Thank you very much. Really appreciate it. Saint Earth donated $6.66. Yeah, the mark of the beast. You can debate a lunatic. Thank you very much, Saint Earth.
Keep an eye on your donations because the $5 ones.
Yeah. Ithimphalic donated $5. Thank you very much. Really appreciate it. There is no objective morality. A consensus of killing is bad doesn't make killing objectively wrong. The arguments here are baseless. Absolutely. You know what? He tried to make this moral relativism argument, which made absolutely no sense. And we agreed on certain morals. So I don't know what he's talking about with morals are subjective when we both agree on these base principle morals. It's completely nonsense. Do you think I should go over the ones you saved?
Yeah, but just go through the ones that are popping up now because the $5 ones disappear really fucking quick.
Okay.
I don't want to keep saving them.
Aaron Sisson donated $5. Thank you very much. I think if I keep reading these out, like it's just going to be an endless amount of super chat donations.
Yeah.
Mekishiano TV donated $5. Buying a dog from a breeder is the same as killing animals. Ha ha ha. No bullshit is full of shit. Yeah, his arguments are really fucking weak. He tries to muddy the waters and make it seem like one wrongdoing is just as bad as any other, therefore all wrongdoing is justified. It makes no sense. It's fucking retarded. Liam Garnett donated $5. Do a video on why Sam Harris should go vegan. He has been on the fence for a while now. I actually did a collab video with Isaac from Ask Yourself on why Sam Harris should go vegan. I might make a future video since I am going to do a video on Jordan Peterson, why he should go vegan. I think I'll do my own on why Sam Harris should go vegan. Sonny Lally donated, I think that's £5, not €5.
Yeah,
thank you very much. I honestly don't know how you stay calm when debating against such dense mongs, LMO. Thanks for the entertainment, bro. Another easy win. Thank you very much, Sunny Sally. I was kind of losing my cool a little bit. It was getting really fucking tiring and frustrating.
He kept interrupting you.
He was interrupting me, then he complained about me interrupting him, and oh my god, it was just absolute brutal. Aaron Jewell donated £5. Thank you very much. He says, good job, Richard. Thank you again. Nanis Mercantile 2 donated $5. Again, thank you very much. Appreciate it. Frinks donated 100 NOK. I'm not sure what country that's from, but thank you very much. NOK.
I'll take a look.
I'm not sure, but thank you very much for the donation. Appreciate it. Poopty Poop Pants donated $5.
That's Norwegian krone.
Huh?
Norwegian.
Oh, Norwegian kroner. Okay, thank you very much. Vegan win as usual. Can you post about how to live on a vegan diet and how much it costs? Over the years, you have convinced me. Yeah, I want to make some more lifestyle videos on what to buy at a grocery store and how much it can cost and how cheap you can live on a vegan diet. Thank you very much for the donation. Aaron Sisson donated $5. Again, thank you. He says more animals are killed to harvest the plants to feed the animals we kill. Again, that's a point that I brought up in the video, but he just ignores everything if it doesn't suit his bias or goes against his argumentation. Crunch Theory donated $10. Thank you very much. Is there any way to view the debate? Just got here. Yeah, the debate will be up on my channel once I end the debate and it processes, so you'll be able to watch the entire thing. Vegan Bread Game Dead Game donated $20. Again, thank you very much. VeganGains, get a lobotomy and debate this guy again. Only way it would be fair. That was a massacre. Thank you very much, Brad. Austin donated $5. Thank you very much. Support from Dallas, Texas. Keep up the good work. Thank you very much, Austin. Really appreciate it. Tim Jong-un, that's a great name, donated $5. Deer become invasive species when predatory species are hunted and killed to protect grazing cattle. That's a great point. Again, I'm not very, I don't know too much about the actual agriculture industry and what goes into it. So that's a really interesting piece of information. Could have used that during the debate, but I don't think it really matters. All of his arguments were basically complete nonsense. 1337 Pudding donated $10. Thank you very much. This video should be renamed The Green Crab Defense. That's a good one. Thank you very much for the donations. Oliver Gruntworm Jensen donated 50 DKK. I'm not sure what currency that's in, but again, thank you very much for the donation. His only argument was that you were inconsistent, which you weren't. Look at the like-dislike ratio. You have 11.7 to 1. Great job, Richard. Thank you very much, Oliver. And Tim Grooney donated 10 euros. No bullshit is completely retarded. He has built this weird construct of lies and intellectual dishonesty. He knows that he's wrong. Such a moron. Wow. Thank you, Tim Grooney, for the donation. I think I'll just end it here. There's a lot of donations that I got that I didn't acknowledge, but I really appreciate, I really seriously appreciate everyone who donates. I'll just read the last two that just came in. Timelapse donated $5. I feel bad for No Bullshit's audience. Love your vids. I became vegan because of you. You're awesome. Thank you very much, Timelapsed. And Jorkaf donated €5. Support from Belgium. Keep it up. Thank you very much. And thank you very much to everyone who watched this debate. Really appreciate the donations and the super chat. And as always, keep making those vegan gains. So I'm going to end this right now. And the stream will be available on my channel after it goes down.